All right, everybody. So, welcome to our bonus session for today. We figured this year that just 6 hours of EntreMD Live would not be enough. So, we decided to do a little bit of a pre event and a post event. And so, we are here today. We're going to get to talk to a number of doctors who are in the EntreMD Business School because I want you to really a big part of what I wanted to do during EntreMD Live is really help doctors see almost like a buffet, right? Of all the things that are possible, the things that we see that are kind of the norm or the status quo, things can be so different from that. And, so I wanted everyone to be able to see that. I wanted people to be able to see a roadmap. So we're going to continue more of that today. So welcome, welcome. All right. So here, let me know in the chat where you are joining us from. I want to know where my friends are from. I found out somebody was joining us from Georgia and I thought they were my neighbor, but it's like Georgia, the country. I was like, wait. Dr. Teresa is in New York, Dr. Walker in Florida, Dr. Reed, Hawaii. Dr. Reed, I really have to come visit. Hi, Dr. Ram. Dr. Ram is in Indiana. Ripa is in Texas. Eber is in Dallas, Texas. Dr. Fishman, hi, Dr. Fishman is in Chicago. I only think of Chicago and cold. Somebody had me attend a wedding there in February. I was like, don't you ever. Mecca is in Maryland. Dr. Mecca is in Maryland. Dr. Toyosi is in North Carolina. Do you say Malachi? Malachi. Did I get it right? I didn't get it right. Here. How do I say it right? You can unmute yourself.
Malathi.
Malathi. Okay, I was close. Okay, good. Good job, Dr. Una. Thank you. Malathi. I got it now. In California, Dr. Foma is in Georgia with me. Dr. Claudia, Los Angeles. Dr. Maria, Houston. Makita is here with me. Edith is in Atlanta. Oh, it's gorgeous in June. Chicago is okay. Hi, Dr. Palmer, who is in Oregon, rock star pediatrician, rocking her practice. Dr. Valerie is in Dallas, Texas. Hi, Dr. Dosumo. She is in New Jersey. Dr. Pinico is in Phoenix. Phoenix. When I went to Phoenix, I got to see her in person. It was so cool. So cool. Okay. All right. So if we haven't met before, my name is Dr. Una. I am a pediatrician. Go Peds. All right. And really, at this stage of my life, my big mission is to help doctors build profitable businesses so we can live life and practice medicine on our terms. I've been doing that for the last, Dr. Because I go Pete. I've been doing this for the last 4 years. We've done it through, our podcast and, primarily through the EntreMD Business School, which at this point has served over 260 doctors, which is, mind boggling. Our third birthday is going to be on the 27th of June. I'm super excited for that. I just thought about, I was like, wow, we should celebrate that. It is a big deal. So we'll see. We'll see what we do. And today really I want us to do some more interviews and really just to see what is possible. And I want to invite you to really stretch yourself and give yourself permission to imagine that life could look different, your business could look different. I really want you to be in that state. The way things are now is like Play-Doh. It can change, right? I've seen this in my, like, it does not make sense that I'm here talking to you. Okay, when you hear me say that I started out as a socially awkward, super shy, introverted introvert, it's not a cute thing to say. I would not be here speaking to you. I wouldn't even be in a room talking to 5 people, right? I did not see myself as the kind of person who could build a profitable business. I did not see myself as the kind of people who could help other people. I didn't see any of that. I didn't see the podcast. I couldn't see any of that. And I tell you that to say things can look very different. You may be in a place where you've built the practice, you've built the business, you're really struggling to get clients in, get patients in, you're really struggling to manage your team. You're at this point where you're starting to burn out and you're like, what is this? Like, I left one burnout situation and with my own hands, I've created another one. It doesn't have to continue to be that way. Like, it literally does not. There are doctors here, and tomorrow we're doing a whole session on the dream life. Like, there are doctors here who figured out how to build that muscle. They know how to control clients coming in. They know how to create revenue. They're learning how to lead their own teams, hire, build culture, do all of those things. And they're living life on their own terms. You hear from doctors, tomorrow who are like, these are the number of vacations that I take. These are the things I do during the week. This is the time I get home. Like, it can be that way. Now, I know that it will be, sometimes it's a little bit of a stretch because there are not enough examples of what is possible. This is the reason why I'm constantly talking on the podcast. I'm constantly inviting doctors who are doing this on the podcast. This is the reason EntreMD Live. I mean, we could have said how to speak on stage or how to start a podcast, but we went all the way to, how to build a 7-figure business. And the reason for that is I want us to kind of be jolted out of this. This is the status quo, and what will be, will be. It doesn't have to be this way. And so you could have not been here, right? You came for EntreMD Live. You could have been like, that was good, goodbye. That was so much fun. But you're here, which means there is something, there is this curiosity, is there really more? Could this really be true? And I want you to approach this with an open mind, right? There's no imagination police, and the people here are not making stuff up. Like, there are so many people here that are in the business school. Like, this was all made up. They will tell you it's made up. Like, this is not made up. But I want us to just see, wow, this is what my business could look like. This is how I could be as an entrepreneur. This is the confidence I could have. This is the skill level I could have. This is the revenue I could generate. This is the kind of team I could have. This is the kind of impact I could leave in the world. This is what I could do with philanthropy. This is the kind of relationship, kind of time I could have for my family. Whatever it is that matters to you, right? We're different. Like, someone here, a great time may be you at the mall. For me, a horrible time is me at the mall, right? Like, I don't want to be there for anything, right? And I don't want to shop online either. Just don't want to do it, right? So what we want, they're all different, but we can build these businesses that allow us to, practice medicine on our terms, take back our value, take back our control, and truly live life the way we want to. Okay. So open mind, open mind. So that's what we're going to do a few of those today. But the team did say that, when we were working all of this out, they were like, Dr. Una, we need to talk about something. I'm like, okay, what are we talking about? And so they're like, a lot of the, people sometimes will hold back from coming to the EntreMD Business School, filling out applications or doing any of those things because they're like, because of their concern around the investment. And she's like, and they're like, will you talk about this? Okay. So I was like, okay, fine. I'll talk about it. Okay. So we're going to talk about that real quick. Then we're going to do our interviews. And this is going to be so much fun. Okay. So let me know in the chat, who's ready? Who's ready? Let's have a great time. Great evening. EBS evening. That's what we're doing. Dr. Reed is like, I'm ready. I'm ready. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Okay. All right. So this is the deal. So I'll give this, I'll time myself. Okay. So we're not going to sit here forever. So number one objection coming up, I don't have the money. I don't have the money to do that, right? And again, I can understand that. The first time I was exposed to investing in myself, it was a $43,000 investment. so I totally get it. Okay. Now the EntreMD Business School is a year-long program. It's a program designed to give you the coaching, the accountability, the community you need to build a thriving business. For the year, you can do $23.50 for a month or $25,000 for the year. Okay, so like talk about the investment. So this is the deal. I said, okay, I'll talk about, we've done this for a while, so I'll talk about, some of the ways that I see doctors taking care of their tuition for the school. But before we talk about the tactics, because it's not a tactic thing, it is primarily a mindset. Like, the tactics take care of themselves. It's not like, once you make a decision, you can figure it out, right? But I will give you some tactics, but it's primarily a mindset. And we started, on EntreMD Live, the pre-event, we started with the 7-figure mindset. And I said, I'll give you the top 7, but they're more. So let me give you more. Okay. Okay, I'll give you more. And this is the thought process. The first one is, I am my best appreciating asset. And this is a writer downer. This is something to never forget. I will see people invest $40,000, $50,000 to remodel their kitchen, right? Because so they can have a better experience in the kitchen with their family. And of course, it raises the value of their home. But beautiful as that is, any investment you make in yourself is more valuable than an investment you make in your kitchen, right? People are like, yes, we need to create memories. So a family will say, oh, we're going to go to Europe. We're going to pay first class for our tickets. We're going to have a great experience with the kids. I mean, like, soon they're going to be adults and they're going to be out of the house. This is powerful, right? And that is very powerful. And people pay, 15 grand, 20 grand, 30 grand, whatever to go on vacation. It is very powerful. But the thing is, every investment you make in yourself is more valuable than that. Why? Because everything on the outside comes from you. Right? Like when you think about, let's look at EntreMD, for instance. My private practice comes from me. The EntreMD podcast that, we're at 490,000 downloads, if you can imagine that, came out of me. The EntreMD business school came out of me, and all of that. Why? Because I took the time to invest in me. So that investment in me is the gift that keeps giving, that can give birth to multiple kitchen remodels, that can give birth to multiple vacations, that can give birth to all of that stuff. So when I take care of things on the outside and ignore me that produces all the things, then I'm not acting like the ultra successful. There's no real estate that can appreciate better than me. I am my best appreciating asset. So this is why I invest in me. When I look at my business, I'm like, wow, we are here. And I want to make this quantum leap. The question I ask myself is, what investment in me is required for me to be able to produce this on the outside? And then I make it. So please never forget, whether you come into the business school or not, like I hope you do, but whether you come in or not, just remember this. I am my best appreciating asset. The more I invest in me, the better everything on the outside is. Jim Rohn was the one who was like, don't wish you were easier, wish you were better. It's not about how difficult something is. It is about who is facing the difficult thing, right? Because in this economy, people are like, oh my goodness, there's a recession. And other people are like, oh wow, there's a recession, right? What's the difference? Is who is facing the recession. It's not the recession. It's not the recession, it's not the pandemic, it's not the great resignation, it's not the hyperinflation, it's none of that. It's not, oh, the reimbursement in private practice, it's not, oh, nobody wants to coach. It's none of that. It's me. Okay? So that's the first thing to think about. The second thing is that understanding, I talked about this a little bit on Thursday, that the dream costs what it costs. The dream costs what it costs. Opening a business does not make you an entrepreneur. Becoming an entrepreneur makes you an entrepreneur. The end, right? It's like medical school. You're not going to say, well, I don't want to do that, but I want to be a doctor. The dream costs what it costs. And we needed a medical education to become great clinicians. We need a business education to become great business people. The end. There's no osmosis, the end. And so it costs what it costs. So the question is, okay, how am I going to get that business education? We have to remember it, because, in the last in-person events we called it shoplifting. Okay. Shoplifting is going to a store, wanting something, refusing to pay for it, and walking out with it. They will put you in orange. Okay. And orange is not a good color on you. Let me just say that. Right? In the same way, we can say, I want to build a 7-figure business, but I don't want to invest in myself. It's called shoplifting. It's called shoplifting. Okay? All right. So that's the second thing. The third thing is the investment precedes the return on investment. I know it sounds like, duh, Dr. Una, duh, of course it does. But I want you to think about it. So, oh no, I want to build a 7-figure business first, then I'll come invest in the business school. No, that's not the way. It's like, I want to become a doctor and get my attending salary, and then I'll go to medical school. Do you see? That's backward. It doesn't work that way. We invest and then we get a return on our investment. That's the way that it works, right? And so if you're thinking, I will do this when is now. This is when we do it so we can have the return. Okay? And sometimes people say, but what if I don't get my return on investment? Brings me to the fourth mindset. You decide to make your return on investment. It is a decision. I have never lost money on a program. And there, in fact, I can remember right now, there's a program I invested in that I did not realize until after it started that, oopsie, this is not going to work, because what they taught was a model that you had to use their model. At this time, the EntreMD Business School already existed. So I was not going to throw away the EntreMD Business School to become like a coach under their model, right? But let me tell you something. I paid 10 grand for that program. I made my money back because it's a decision. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to do that, but I can observe the way they lead their business, they do their business. I can observe their business principles. I can observe how they lead their team. I can observe and all those things. And I told Makita, I made my money back, and then a lot some. I did. Why? Because it's a decision. Like, I am showing up here and I'm going to have a return on investment. Same way you showed up in medical school and you're like, I'm going to graduate. One way or another, I'm graduating. Right? You can say, well, what if I don't graduate? Because of course, every year there are people who don't. You just decided I'm not going to be one of them. There are people who've come into the EntreMD business. I think Dr. Emeka is here. He came in like, oh, I'm making my return on investment before the school officially starts. That is a decision. Dr. Swaldo came in and said, I'm going to be your best student. That is a decision. And I didn't need anybody to tell me they were going to be rock stars. Because once you see someone make that kind of decision, you're like, yeah, I know your kind. I know what's about to happen. Okay, so, but did you guys get that? I am my best performing asset. The dream costs what it costs. The return, the investment precedes the return on investment, and you decide, I am going to get a return on my investment. The end. The end. Okay, so Dr. Brenda is like, my production was up 30% the first quarter. Look at that, right? And Dr. Brenda, anybody here who's in the business school will tell you, she came in with the decision. Like, I didn't come here to play. I'm serious. I'm going to get a return on investment. It may not be the exact words she used, but that's the determination she showed up with. So let me know in the chat, when you think of building this business that is going to help a lot of people, going to create financial freedom, and you think about the dream life that it will make possible for you, are you willing to adopt that mindset? Are you willing to adopt it and say, are you kidding me? Like, of course. Yeah, I'm my best appreciate. I'm going to make this happen. Are you going to leave it to chance? Like, what will be, will be? No, we take the bull by the horn. We're like, we're going to make this work. So this is what precedes, how do I pay for it, right? Because once you make this decision, the other thing, I'm sure if you've made this decision, you're like, oh yeah, doctor, and I already figured it out. You don't have to give me tactics. Because this is what precedes that. This is what precedes that. So let me give you 2, 3, 5 tactics, and then we'll hear stories here. Okay. So some people have done it. They've had stuff that they had saved. They've done it with their savings. Okay, doctors in here, they can tell you how they did it. Some people have done it with their savings. At this stage for me, because I started investing myself in 2017, and at this stage is just a line item in the budget. It's like this is what we put away from it, right? This is what we put away from it, and we just invest. That's what we do. Okay, and it's a hefty investment. I'm sure I invest more than all my students, but then again, this is the point. The point is, it would be terrible for me to choose to lead a group of entrepreneurs and refuse to get better. I have to get better by quantum leaps, because whether I like it or not, I'm a lid. I'm a lid in a way. It's my job. And so it is what it is. There's no discussion. Some people do it from savings. Some people choose to do locums for it, right? So I'm just going to make the math easy. Say you do $2,000 a shift. It's a shift a month. It's a shift a month for you to transform into this person who can build a dream business and a dream life. Okay. Some people is from business revenue. So you already have an established business. This is from business revenue. Okay. Now, I want to be very clear. I did a podcast episode on how your payroll can be an expense or an investment. Your payroll should be an investment. That's what it should be, where you get a return on your investment. In the same way, your investment in your business education is an investment. So sometimes people will say things like, the expenses in my business have gone up, so I'm cutting out my coaching. And I'm like, that's not the way this works. You leverage the coaching to up your income, so the increased expenses are not a problem. Do you see what I'm saying? That is an investment. And I did a whole podcast episode on what not to cut when you're cutting expenses. But anyway, so business revenue, some people do it from that. And it's fine, but it's an investment. And if you show up with the attitude of, I'm getting a return on my investment, you know that that investment becomes the gift that keeps giving and giving and giving and giving and giving. Till today, the $43,000 we spent in 2017, we still talk about it being the best investment we've made. Till today. Why? Showed up with it. And the funny thing is I probably made $4,000 the first year. Because some people are like, oh, it's been 2 days and I haven't made my money back. I didn't make anything. I made like $4,000 the first year. But let me tell you this, we made $4,000 and then we made 100 and then we made 100,000 and then we made 260 and then we made $1 million, then we made 2 million. Are you okay not making money for a year so you can have that trajectory? You think I'm mad about the year I can make money? Do you guys see what I'm saying? It's a mindset. It's a dogged determination. Like this is happening or it's happening. And the funny thing is that's what you need for your business. This is what you need for your business. Like you show up for your business like this is happening or it's happening. Because challenges are going to show up. And you need to go like, damn, this is happening. Okay? All right. So number 1, savings. Number 2, locums. Number 3, business revenue. Number 4, some people have done credit. Okay, whether that's a credit card or loan, people have done that as well. Again, there's no right or wrong. You can choose what you want to do. And then number 5, people have done W-2 income, right? So those are ways people have done it. But understand that the tactic is not as important as this, right? Like think of the entrepreneur that is inside is made of steel, like no retreat, no surrender. I am helping people. I am creating financial freedom and I will live that dream life. That's the dogged determination that is needed. Okay. All right. So let me end this part with this. You can choose to look at the $25,000 or you can focus on that, or you can focus on the impact, the financial freedom and the dream life. You can choose which one. Right? I live in the return on investment. I don't live in the investment. I live on the return. When somebody's buying real estate, do they go like, oh my goodness, I'm throwing away this $200,000 that they're using for the down payment? Or do they say, oh my goodness, look at what we could have? I have my eyes on the prize at all times. Okay? So if I need to make an investment to get there, I'm making the investment. Or you can choose to focus on, I'm losing this or I'm gaining this. It's your choice. Right? But I'm going to invite you to change the way you think. Change the way you think. I look for play. Like I'm like, can I invest this to get this transformation? The revenue that we have, the money we have, the earning power we have is a gift given to us that we can give in exchange for our dream life. Money is all about exchange. We are just gifted with the ability to earn so we can pay for our transformation. That's literally what it is. Okay. So if you've been thinking about it, I truly hope that it's not the investment that's holding you back. Okay. And if you're like, I want some more creative ways, I'm sure Makita has 10 other creative ways for you, but that's the link to apply. Okay. Our destiny is at the mercy of our decisions on EntreMD.com/apply. Okay. I had somebody walk up to me, and this is a true thing. I'm not saying this we don't manipulate anybody. If this is not for you, it's not for you, right? If it's for you, you're paying attention. You know it's for you. Okay, so and he walked up to me and he's like, you know what? 2 years ago, I had the opportunity to join the school, and I didn't. And I look at the people who joined at the time that I joined, and it's unbelievable who they've become. Like I feel so bad. I feel like a failure. I'm like, we don't cry over spilled milk. That's done. Like, how about we make today a new day? Okay, how about we make today a new day? So it's not about the investment. It's about what the investment makes possible. Do you want that? If you want it, pay for it. Don't shoplift. Okay. Okay. So EntreMD.com/apply. The team will be happy to get in touch with you, let you know you're accepted. We have questions. Get your contracts done. And Thursday is our first orientation call. I'll be handling that myself, showing you how to get, again, return on investment, first 90 days, how to crush the first 90 days in the EntreMD Business School. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing. All right, so Makita is probably like, Dr. Una, enough. You guys do, Makita is my boss, right? Okay, so we have some docs here that we want to interview. The first one I'm so excited to interview because I need to hear this story for myself. And so we have Dr. Tara Reed here, and she is joining us from Hawaii. And I haven't been there yet. I need to fix that. All right. And okay, yes, she's able to unmute herself. Dr. Reed, hi.
Hello, hi. I'm joining you from Oahu.
Man, so cool. I'm coming at some point. We'll see what we do about it. Okay, can you take a moment, introduce yourself to the group? I have questions for you.
Okay, and just ahead of time, sorry, there might be some airplanes flying over, so I'm sorry if you can't hear anything, but I'm Tara Reed. I'm from the Big Island of Hawaii. I'm an internal medicine physician. I'm completing my service repayment at a community health center here, and then I'll be joining my mentor on the Big Island to join his private practice since he really wants to retire ASAP. And
Awesome.
so I learned about the business school a little less than a year ago, and I went to your visibility formula, and I just knew after that that I needed this because I didn't know what I didn't know, and all I have known, and I've only been out of residency for 4 years now. I just wanted to be prepared to transition into the world of private practice. And entrepreneurship. And so I told my husband about it. I told him about the investment, and he was totally on board. But being 4 years out of residency, we don't have a lot of savings. We have 2 kids, and my husband is a stay-at-home dad. So we had to come up with a plan, and we didn't want to use we couldn't use all of our emergency fund for the investment. So we came up with a plan to try to save by September. And so we cut out. It's amazing how many things I found out I really didn't need. And so we stuck to the savings plan. And but in the meantime, I was looking at other ways I could help fund the investment. And so on the Big Island of Hawaii, well, all of Hawaii, but really on the rural areas, there is a huge shortage of physicians. And so there are actually like foundations and organizations are trying to help recruit doctors who were born and raised in these rural areas come back. And so I applied for a grant, and they gave it to me. So so that was nice. And then also I have a passion for teaching, and I've been involved with the medical school here a little bit, teaching for free basically. But so an opportunity came up where they wanted to hire me as a 0.25 FTE once I moved back at the end of the year to teach med students and residents in the office to help them learn about private practice in a rural area. So it kind of just worked out. And so when I got those 2 things, I just immediately I emailed Makita and texted her too to just see if there was a way I could sign up earlier. And we were super excited. And there was another thing too, because another thing that came out that one of the local insurance companies in Hawaii want more people taking their insurance or their patients, because we don't have a lot of doctors in rural areas. And so there's this they give you a monthly stipend as long as you take 250 of their patients over the course of a year. So I have that set up for December, to start in December when I move back. So we're trying to build a waiting list of patients for me to accept once I start.
Okay, hang on. I haven't heard this story before, right? But Keita just said, "Oh my goodness, you will not believe what Dr. Reed did." But did anybody hear this? Like, let me know in the chat if you're hearing the same thing I'm hearing. This is unbelievable. You're amazing. No, seriously, let me know in the chat. Okay, so first of all, your original plan was to join in September. Is that what I heard you say?
Yeah.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so you were going to join in September. You're like, I need this. Your husband's like, yes, we need this. We need to do this. And you guys were like, okay, how do we figure it out? You decide I'm going to do September, but you've already been in the school for a month. So you joined like what, 4 months, 5 months earlier than you planned. So you guys think about this, okay? So they came up with a plan. They cut out some things that, like, it's amazing the number of things we didn't need. You applied for a grant, right? And you got the stuff with the medical school, you got the stuff with the other insurance people. And let me show everybody here something, right? Now you paid for the school, but now you have all this streams of income that you had created in order to pay for the school that still continue, right? Like do you see what I'm saying? Like, in the process of deciding I'm gonna make this work, you made it work, but it's still working for other things. How crazy is that? Okay, you're amazing. I'm like totally blown away. Okay, I'm sorry. So you called Makita, you texted Makita. Makita was like, no, wait till September. What did Makita tell you?
And she's so nice, and thank you, Makita, for all the time that you spent with me, and all the calls even after the visibility formula. And I mean, you're so encouraging too, and help me realize I really needed this. Um, and a lot of it too is like the asking was from listening to your podcast. So thank you, Dr.
Well, thank you for doing the work. You just made my whole day. Okay, so you've been, I think you've been in the school for a month now. What is that accurate? A month. Okay. So you're in, and I'm so grateful that you are. And you deciding to do this created a whole transformation before you even came into the school. So when you guys hear statements like the transformation is in the transaction, this is a real life example, right? This is a real life example. So it's been 30 days. What has your experience been like?
It's great. I mean, just the books that you recommend, and I'm trying to go back in time on the Facebook group to try to figure out what books you previously recommended.
Oh, I have a whole list for you. Don't worry. We'll give it to you. I have a whole list. You're good.
but but yeah, I mean, the people, I think I've been to 3 live sessions now, and I mean, I'm just blown away by what everyone else is doing, and it really gives me hope for private practice, seeing how other people are like actively working on it. They literally just started, or they've been at it for a year, and they're so successful. And for someone like at the beginning of their journey like me, and like fresh out of residency, it just is really inspiring. And sometimes it does feel lonely because a lot of the people who are where I work at, they don't really see what else is out there. And it's actually helping me not get so bogged down with like the like being a cog in the wheel, really, because I see that there's so much more.
Oh man. Okay, you guys need to show Dr. Reed some love in the chat. This is so first of all, thank you so much for coming on and for sharing your story and like laying it all out there. And I do want to tell you this. You do have the making of somebody who's going to really, really knock it out of the park. And anybody who knows you would tell me I don't flatter. I'm just saying based on what you're doing. One is that you embrace the challenge. And if I remember correctly, you paid in full. Did you pay in full?
Yeah.
So not only did she do it, she paid the 25 grand in full. You figured out how to do that. You've put yourself in a community of people who are, and it's not just me who's ahead of you, but you have all these people who are just like vision boards in front of you the entire time, right? You're learning the skills, you're putting yourself out there, you're not afraid of taking action, you're not intimidated by being in a room like that. Like you don't have limits. This is going to be really good. Like just keep this up is going to be so so good. I'm so happy for you. So happy. All right, so and you did say something about, like it does feel lonely, right? And that's one of the beautiful things about the community we've built is that you can people can be out there, they can be negative and they can be doing all the things, but you can come to this place where people think completely like it's just different, right? And you can have that support and you can have those examples. So even when you want to, maybe you attended EntreMD Live, you're like, rah, and you went to work yesterday, right? Or today, and it was beat out of you because people are like, oh, forget about all those things, all that, like, but you're in this community where it's reinforced every single day, right? Dr. Brenda, who's a veteran in private practice, like, we got your back. I mean, like, look at who has your back. Like, she's a whole she's a whole unicorn, right? So super pumped, so happy for you, so happy for you. Okay, so leave us with this. What would you tell the person who is kind of where you were, like when you were like, there's no way we can do this, we have 2 young kids, we're fresh out ready, we don't have savings and stuff like that, we don't want to touch our emergency fund, which super smart. But what would you tell that person, right? Because you overcame that hump and you're on the other side. So proud of you, so proud. But what would you tell that person?
I would say just really think about your why. I know you talk about this a lot, but it's really true. Like what is your why, and where do you see yourself? And like it's like a lot. I'm just quoting you all the time, sorry, but I just really think there's, like you say, there's no imagination police, and we work so hard to be doctors, and it's really really inspiring to see everybody's journey. And I think what really really like solidified it to me was hearing everybody else's stories too. Dr. Obidi shared his story with us during the visibility formula, Yeah, so I'm not very eloquent, but thank you for letting me in, and thank you for having me and your time today.
You are eloquent and you have the best story. Please, thank you. Okay, guys, show her some love in the chat. Thank you so much for sharing. So much for sharing. I'm rooting for you. I'm so excited I got to hear your story because this is mind-boggling. I'm excited. This is gonna be great.
Thank you.
All right. Was that good? You guys got that? So powerful. So this is somebody 4 years out, and this is the principle. What I don't have right now, I have the capacity to create. That's what she did, right? I don't have the 25 in hand, but between my experience, my education, my connection, my background, this, I have what it takes to create it. And that's literally what she did. And that's the same thing she's going to need to do in business. I don't have patience. You can create. I don't have staff. You can create. I don't like you create that stuff out of nothing. That is what entrepreneurs do. So what I don't have now, I have the capacity to make it. That's the way this works, right? Okay. That was so good. All right. Can you guys handle one more? If you're nice, I'll give you one more. If you're nice. Yeah. Let's see in the chat. Who's being nice to me? Okay. I will allow it. I will allow it. All right. We have Dr. Brittany Panico. She is joining us from Phoenix, Arizona. She is amazing. Hi, Dr.
Hello.
Panico. How are you?
Thank you. How are you?
I am doing great. Excited. You're here.
Thank you. I'm sorry if there's a rumble. I'm sitting in my car. My office is being remodeled, so
But we're
my
not mad,
hideaway.
we're not mad at you and your office being remodeled. We just want to see pictures later. How about that?
Yes, I will post them.
Okay. So why don't you introduce yourself to the audience? Let's hear your story. Is going to be a gift to the people who get to listen. So
Sure. Thank you. So I'm Brittany Panico. I'm a rheumatologist in Phoenix, and I was in a basically an academic. I was a clinician, academic clinician. So I wasn't producing research, but I was seeing patients in an academic center in Phoenix, and heard Dr. Una's visibility formula workshop. This would have been a year and a half ago. So I've been in EBS for a full year. And my friend, who's a dermatologist, was sort of pushing me or kind of urging me, when you're ready, start a practice because we need, more people like you out here, and I'm doing it and I think you could do it. So he sort of put the bug in my ear. But of course, I'm thinking, I don't know a thing about business. I've been employed my entire career. So I came across the visibility formula workshop and thought, oh my gosh, like this is my ticket to learning all of the things that I need to learn to be able to open up my own practice. And sure enough, so at that point, you were doing, I think, quarterly applications, and it was very similar, like a week to apply. And the night of, I sent it, I think I had like an hour before the deadline. I submitted my application. I told my husband, I'm doing this. Like, you'll thank me later, but we're going to do this. And he's a electrophysiologist. So he's like, okay, what, I believe in you, whatever. So got in, and the way that we paid for it essentially is I get very paranoid about taxes. I'm not a very kind of savvy person when it comes to how I save and how we delegate for taxes. So I bank away a little bit extra every paycheck into our tax fund. And so usually we get a refund, because there was a year I had to pay a lot of money and I told myself I would never do that again. So I overpay, and that way we get a refund every year. So we kind of decide how we're going to use that money. And we had just decided together that we were going to use our refund essentially to pay for EBS. So that was my little trick. And then, like Dr. Una had mentioned, making it a line item in your business. So because of EBS, I started my husband and we started our own consulting company to do to talk and do consulting work. So it's a line item for our consulting business now. But then rolling over into my practice. So I was in the public service loan forgiveness program, and my loans were coming up to be forgiven. So once that happened, then I decided to give my notice and leave my employed practice and start my own practice. So that happened in December. So I'm 6 months into my own private practice in rheumatology. And I think one of the biggest ways that I am seeing the return on my investment is not only the consulting. So I'm now a speaker for one of the pharmaceutical companies that I use their product. So that's going to pay for itself. I only have to speak, a handful of times, and I essentially pay my tuition back. But it's also in my ability to pivot in my business now. So if something doesn't seem like it's going right, or I'm not necessarily getting the types of referrals that I will generate patient revenue, I know how to pivot that much quicker so that I don't waste my time doing stuff that's not actually making money for my business. So that's been really powerful, because when we're employed, we don't have that control to say, I don't specifically want to see these patients who aren't bringing in revenue to my practice. Whereas now I can identify what portion of my community not only needs my help, but what portion is actually investing back into my practice so that I can then put more money back into my community by hiring more staff, by, servicing in that way. So I think the mindset you mentioned is such a key portion of it, because we learn then what it means to provide that investment back into our community and how we can pivot our role and our service to accommodate for that. So one of the things that's happening just within the last couple of weeks is a private practice closed. So there has been a massive change and shift in the patient population. And so a lot of those patients, needed to be seen quickly or were without infusion medications. And so we sort of capitalized on that by, increasing our social media, increasing our kind of word of mouth around the community about, we're here, and opening an infusion center. And if you are somebody on infusions, we're here for you. So again, I think it's kind of just being able to take something that you're already good at, get better at it, and be more vocal about, I am the person who can do this for you in this community. And it's just been really great, because that is the return, right? The patient volume, the filling up your schedule quickly, the, being full at 6 months has been my return, because I'm not struggling to see patients, and that's such a big relief. But in the sense, putting in the work that we talk about in EBS, that Dr. Una talks about, that, the success that other people have had, and the tools that they're using to then say, okay, I can apply this to my specialty, my practice. And then also, just to give like a quick aside, because I know some of us have spouses who are in medicine, some of us have spouses who are not in medicine. I also feel like there's a return on the investment within my marriage, because we're communicating much more effectively with each other and what we want out of our future careers. And then also, he's picking up things that are working for me and applying that to his career. And he's been getting offered speaking engagements and being able to sit on, really, really big meetings with people who design things for his field, product development, and things that doors that wouldn't have necessarily been opened had he, not put himself out there, seeing what I'm doing as well. So I think even though he's not specifically, involved in EBS, he's listening and seeing what I'm doing and thinking, okay, if I apply these tools to my job, I can get these things too. And so collectively, our family income has increased because of that as well. So I think that can apply to people, getting promotions in other areas too, by seeing the things that we're able to accomplish. So the investment is just the seed, like Dr. Una was saying, that's just the tip of the iceberg that starts this big snowball of like all these other things that happen. And a lot of it isn't until months or maybe even a year later. But once it starts to come, it's like it starts happening faster and bigger each time. So that's been really rewarding.
Man, okay, so tell your husband to expect an invoice from EBS. I'm kidding, I'm
Yes,
kidding.
he's piggybacking off of, yeah.
Just say, okay,
So,
we know now. So, but
yeah.
okay, so hear this, right? And Dr. Panico is not the first person to say this. This is something you hear time and time and time again of the impact it has in marriages. Because EBS, it's a business school. Today I was thinking about it. I was like, I won't be shocked if, like, in 5 or 7 years, we rename this school because it's so much more than business. When we say dream business and dream life, this is what we're talking about, where now the marriages are better, now the communication is better, now your spouse is doing, seeing you do certain things, and and it's not like they didn't have value for it. That's not what I'm trying to say, but they look at you different. Like
Mhm.
my wife, my husband's a total boss. Like, do you see what's going on here? It's so crazy to see that because you, the person, this is about you becoming an entrepreneur. And entrepreneurship is like almost the best personal development program there is out there. Like that's just what it is. Um, Now, Dr. Panico, I mean, like, you just dropped so many nuggets. I don't even know where to start from. So, but I will ask you this because I want people to get this perspective. You were in the business school for almost a year before it was time for you to start your practice. I have that right, correct?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes. Okay. Because I want you to see this now. Again, this is an example of that mindset that I am my best appreciating asset. She was not saying deciding to start a practice the next day, but she was like, I'm going to do the business before the business. I'm going to learn the skills. I'm going to learn what I need to do. But that's what put her in a position where you heard her say, at 6 months, I'm full, in a place where private practices are shutting down. She's like, at 6 months, I'm full. I'm not struggling to see. Then think about this. We talked about the 7-figure sales system, the 7-figure marketing system. Now you can see that in operation where she's like, okay, so that practice closed. So we have all these patients who are displaced. So this is how we're going to create these buckets so they'll know that we're here. So we just put the buckets so they come from there to here. And it's not like, oh, what do I, it's like, I know what to do, right? So I do this with social media, I do this with word of mouth, I do this, and I put that presence out there. So people are like, okay, we know this is a place to go. And she was able to turn that around. You guys, this is about becoming an entrepreneur, right? And it's not one business, really it's two businesses, because you have the consulting business and you have the private practice. And now your husband is applying the thing, getting his own speaking gigs and all of that. So collectively, family is so much better, right? So when you think about making the investment at this stage, right? Because you're at the beginning stages of the return on investment. Because remember, this is the gift that keeps giving. And as the years go by, what it gives becomes bigger and bigger, right? So when you think about the initial investment you made compared to, that's what I was talking about. Like, you can focus on the investment, you can focus on the dream. When you compare the two, what do you think?
I mean, it's so incredible to think, all I had to do was make that decision, and now it's automatic. I came up for renewal, and yes, like, not even a question. I had already budgeted to renew. So I think, it's really that decision of this is what's gotten me this far in a year. So if I do it again, it's unfathomable what can even happen. And I think the biggest thing that really made a difference for me was understanding, when you're employed, your employer sets a cap for you. So I had all these restrictions on things I could do. I couldn't speak. I couldn't go out and do moonlighting. I couldn't make any extra money. I was stuck in my salary. And of course, I could Uber, I could do some other thing that was not tied to medicine, but I couldn't use my skills to do anything else outside of my employed position. So now, if I decide, I'm going to start using a supplement company to build a vertical, if I decide I want to do a third party something or other to add, an investment into my business, if I want to cut expenses somewhere and use something that's cheaper so that I have more revenue to use that for somewhere else, I can make those decisions. So your ability to pivot money and move money in those buckets, like Dr. Una was saying, you can do that once you're no longer under, the umbrella of employment. But I think it's helpful too that even if you have the intention of building your personal brand while being employed, there's still other ways, right? You can open that other business and do something different that doesn't conflict with your day job. Whereas, that's kind of the mindset of, oh, I can offer all these other things too, not just feel stuck in my job.
We don't have to feel stuck. I just like to think that all of this was from one decision. This is what I've been saying since Saturday. It is a decision. Like all the other things, how will I pay you? How will I find the time? It's noise. What matters is the decision. This is the dream. This is the cost from your dream. I'm deciding to do it. That's it. Like it really is as simple as that. It's not more complicated than that. And for Dr. Panico, she's now in this place where she's experienced it. So she's not waiting she's just like, yeah, I already budgeted it. Whenever that time comes around, I'm just doing it. That's it. Because she understands it's just that decision. It's just that decision. There we go. Right. So Dr. Panico, this is so good. Thank you for sharing this. And I still get blown away every time I hear this, because of course the story keeps evolving, right? I mean, like in a time when practices are shutting down like left, right, and center, to say like in 6 months I'm busy, that's crazy. Like, that,
Yeah.
right? Like it's crazy, but that's how we roll. In fact, I don't know who said this. I don't know who said this, but some night we were having our live session. Our live sessions are on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. And someone's like, I started my practice 4 months ago and I'm only breaking even. And I just sat, I was just like, y'all are so spoiled in EBS. I'm like, go post that in any other group on Facebook. Oh, well, that was you, Dr. Palmer. I was like, go post it on any other group in Facebook and say, my problem is that I've been open for 4 months and I'm breaking even. They will drag you, right? Because I was like, wow. I was like, you guys are just rock stars. So you're like, this is a new norm. I'll take it. I'll take the challenge. But it really is a different place, and it really comes from that commitment. It's a decision that turns people into this, like where this is how we roll. This is what we do. When you join EBS, when you join the EntreMD Business School, I want you to understand that now you're surrounded with people like Dr. Reed, people like Dr. Palmer, people like Dr. Panico, the doctors you heard on site. Like this is now your new community, where you have the best kind of peer pressure is positive peer pressure. And it's not in a bad way. It's in an inspiring, empowering way. Like you're like, wait a minute. Like if she could, I can. If she could, well, that's the way they did it. I can do that too. You have somebody you can ask questions, you can bounce ideas off. Like this becomes your new environment. And the law of the environment is that you never rise above your environment. You're never unaffected by your environment, right? So you walk into a place full of people like her, it's like being under a vent that's blowing cold air. Like you're gonna get cold. So here you're gonna get on fire. You're gonna go like, I can do this. You're one decision away. Okay, so please turn in your application, entremd.com/apply, and give yourself the gift of a new way of thinking. I don't just go like, wait a minute, I don't have the time, I don't have this, I don't have that. You've done this before. You did it for medical school. You didn't stop. You were like, I got this. We'll figure it out. That's what you said. That's what turned you from a pimply teenager into a person who can operate on hearts. That's the power of that decision. So I'm saying decide one more time. Like, are we going to evolve once and stop? Evolving once and stopping is what got us where we are. That's what created the loss of autonomy. That's what created the burnout. That's what created all of this. We need to do one more evolution, and there'll be another one after that, okay? So this is a trick evolution, but one more evolution. Like I am MD. What can I be? An MD plus entrepreneur, savvy entrepreneur. Can I be this? Can I be that? We're getting to the stage where we're going to start talking about, as EBS, about disrupting industries. Like I'm in my industry, I'm going to disrupt it. I'm not going to complain about anything anymore. We're going to fix it, right? That's another evolution. So evolve. All right. So the old you used to say, oh, I don't think I can afford it. I don't think I can do it. What if it doesn't work for me? No, this is a new you. Embrace the new you. Okay. Okay. Dr. Panico, what would you say to the person kind of sort of on the fence, right? Like Dr. And I hear you, but there's a but, right? What would you say? And this is a person who wants the dream, right? This is not someone who's cynical and all. This is somebody who wants it, but they're like still a little unsure, right? What would you say to that person? Because we're in EBS, right? Every week. So we're on fire. We're like, yeah, we can do it. Like the more impossible is the more like, yeah, we can do it, right? But this person hasn't been in EBS yet. Okay. They're around naysayers and all of that stuff. Okay. So what would you say to that person?
I would tell you to do it scared, because we all have that gut feeling of like, oh, I don't know if I'm ready for this. That's the feeling that moves us forward. We do have it in us. The money will come. The money is just money. It will come. But the decision to move yourself forward, there's no language to express what that means to you. So do it scared, do it when you're not ready. Just do it. That's been my phrase for this year. Just do it. And I'm trying not to let that voice hold me back. And so many amazing things have happened that I would never have even thought. So you can't think of it. You can't necessarily even know what your dream is until you're doing it, and then it evolves and it happens. So even if you think this is a portion of your dream, just do it. And we're here for you and we're ready. And the more amazing people that join, the harder we will all push each other and the faster we will all grow together. So I want more really awesome people to join, because then I will do better. So I think it's a win-win for everyone.
Do you guys hear this mindset? Like, can you see the mindset on display? There's no competition there. There's collaboration. Like, you're amazing. Come on in. I want more amazing people so I can get even better. Like, listen to that. How wild is that? Dr. Panico, thank you. This is so good. And you said something profound. You said many profound things, but you said, even if you're not sure what the whole dream is, right? You just know there's a portion of it. That's where we start from. I could not have imagined that I'll be where I am now. All I knew is there's a next step I needed to take, and I took it. There's no way I could have predicted where I never thought I'd be a podcaster. I never thought I'd be doing that. I never thought I'd be talking to doctors. I never thought any of these things. I just knew there's more. I was willing to invest in there's more. That was my business idea. That was my whole idea. There's more, right? So EntreMD.com/apply. And the thing is, if you notice, the decision Dr. Panico made to get in is the decision she used to bring her practice to where she was full at 6 months. Is the same, like, I'm scared, I'll do it scared. I'm unsure, but I'm still doing it. I've made the decision, it's gonna happen. It's the same thing. That's why when people tell me, I wanna try the school, can I come in and try it? I'm like, the problem with that is you can't build a wildly successful business by trying. It takes commitment. And so if I let you come in, I am doing you a disservice, because you will quit. Because if you're trying to see if it won't be hard and all of these things, that if it won't be scary, it will be hard and it will be scary. But if you decide you can overcome the fear, at least not let it stop you, and you can figure out how to get it done, you can overcome it, right? So the same determination it takes to get in is the same determination it's going to take for your business to work. It's the same thing. So you've been thinking about it. You know, for me, I show up for doctors every week. I've done a podcast. I've done 2 episodes every week for years. Never missed an episode. I put on EntreMD Live. You know that I didn't come on EntreMD Live to sell. I came on there to serve. I came on there to uplift the physician community. I came up there so people can buy into their own dreams. I serve the physician community whether they pay me or not. Yeah, I do. Now, the thing is, there are some people, it's not everybody. There are some people who are like, I'm gung-ho, I'm committed, I'm going to be the example of what is possible for the physician community. I'm going to serve, I'm going to create financial freedom, I'm going to create my own dream life. I just need a container to do it in. I built you a container. It's called the EntreMD Business School. I already built you a container. Okay, they're phenomenal physicians in there. Some of them have been there. They just started their 4th year. We celebrated that today in the business school. 4th year, and they're killing it, and they're doing ridiculous things. right? I could call names off here and they'll give you different version of the same story. Like right now, we don't need to, nobody here was prepped. Nobody was here, was like, tell this aspect of your story, beef this one up a bit. Nobody was told that. Nobody was told that. This is a real place where real change is happening, where the leaders of the healthcare space are being groomed. That's exactly what's happening. So if you're thinking about it, this is your moment and this is decision time, right? I don't want you to come back a year from now and say, oh man, I attended, EntreMD Live with that person and now they're up. Oh my goodness, look at what happened with them. What of me? I don't want you to do that. Make the decision, then make the decision right. You make the decision, then you make the decision right. Okay? So turn in your application, entremd.com/apply. Dr. Panika and Dr. Reed, thank you so much. I mean, listening to your stories, that was just like, that was so good for my soul. Thank you so much for sharing your stories. And thank you, really for daring your fears and being an example, right? Because this is how we make the ripple, for being an example to the physician community of what is possible, right? Because we don't have to have this experience that is the norm. We're disrupting the norm. We're creating a new norm. And you're doing it. And so thank you for doing that, Dr. Reed, like so early in your journey. Thank you for doing that. I have no doubt that months from now we'll be so blown away by what you're doing. So thank you. And for everybody here who's in EBS, thank you for coming out and cheering the people on. It's so crazy. So listen, you're here, you've been thinking about it. You may be scared. Being scared is not a problem. Dr. Pinico will tell you, everybody in the business school scared. Everybody's scared. We're doing it scared. It is what it is. Everybody's scared. We're over it. It's a normal thing, right? We just don't let it stop us anymore, right? You may be saying, oh, I'm not sure what the next, like what I would need to do for this. You don't need the how. We have the how in there. That's where we deposit the how. It's all there. And the accountability for you to get it done, it's there. It's all there. All you need to do is say yes. That's your next step. Your next step is apply, get in, and start your journey. Okay? Start your journey. And this is a journey that is like, it's like, yeah, that's the way it goes. You keep going, you hit the snowball, and people are like, you're a unicorn. Dr. Panika, when you came in, you're probably like, these doctors here are unicorns. And you're like, wow, we are unicorns. And I want more unicorns. All right, so come join us. Come be a unicorn. All right? I think I'm going to get a unicorn horn or something for everybody. But okay, so guys, next best step. Okay, put your unicorns are us. Okay, Makita. Okay, turn in your application. Makita is here. She'll get on the phone with you, get you all approved, get everything done. Thursday, we're doing our first orientation call. I'll be showing you how to rock the first 90 days, right? Rock the first 90 days, and you will be welcomed into a community of people who are here to support you and to make your dream business and dream life a reality. Tomorrow at 7 p.m., we're going to hear from a number of docs, and we're going to be looking at really creating your dream life, right? Like we've talked about the business, all these different aspects, but how I don't want to, there are many doctors who are like, I don't want to do this because I don't want to lose my family. I don't want to lose my life. Like I want to have a life. And there are so many doctors who are building this and having the best life they've ever had. You're going to hear their stories as well. And it's going to be amazing. So save the date, 7 p.m. tomorrow. Go apply. Congratulations to the docs who have already done that. Congratulations to the docs who have already signed up to join the school. We can't wait to welcome you. We just can't wait. All right. Okay. So thank you so much, everybody, for coming out. I will see you bright and we will see you in a few minutes because we're going to be reviewing your applications. Okay. And then we'll see you in the school. All right. Good night, everybody.